Hi friends, I'm Mary at Alaskan Homemaker. Today we're going to make beef stroganoff. I've got a leftover roast that I had put in the crock pot and cooked, and we have a lot left over, so I'm going to make some beef stroganoff freezer meals out of it. So let's get started. I have my water boiling right here, and I'm going to put a 1/4 cup of butter in my skillet and a 1/4 cup of olive oil. And we're going to slice up our onions. I save my onion peels and the ends of the onions for when I make beef broth or chicken broth. I just save them in the freezer. The onion peels make the broth have a really nice color. This little peel has some rough spots, so I'm going to stick that in with the bag for stock. We're going to caramelize our onions. I'm going to carefully stick those in there. Okay, we'll give these a stir. It'll take about 30 minutes to caramelize these onions. We can chop our mushrooms and garlic while we're waiting for these to caramelize. It's going to add a lot of flavor to our beef stroganoff. Here's my homegrown garlic. Once you smash the garlic, the paper comes off easily. Now we're going to give these a chop, a dice. This was 5 cloves of garlic. Okay, I'm going to get a little bowl. Put that in. Give these onions a stir. Okay, now we'll get our mushrooms chopped. I'm just going to slice the mushrooms. Smells so good. All that garlic and onions cooking. This is 24 ounces of mushrooms. 2 left. Okay, we've got all our mushrooms sliced up. We've got our peels for when we make broth, homemade broth. So we'll stick these in the freezer. And I'm going to keep stirring the onions, and I'll bring you back when they start to get a little bit more caramelized. Hi friends, our onions are nice and caramelized, so we're going to add our garlic. And we'll give that a mix. Now we're going to add in our mushrooms. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. It's looking a little dry, so I'm going to add that butter in there. I'm going to add a little more olive oil too, a couple tablespoons. It's looking good. Those have cooked down nicely, so we're going to add a half a cup of flour and make a roux to thicken up our beef stroganoff. We're going to get some salt into our boiling water. You can use any pasta you want. I'm using some spiral pasta here. Okay, all our dry flour bits are all soaked in. So you're supposed to use beef broth, but I've got my homemade chicken broth. I'm out of beef broth right now, so I'm going to use chicken. And I'm going to open that up. This is 4 cups of chicken stock. And I'm going to pour that in. Add about a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. And we're going to keep stirring this, and it's going to thicken up. While that thickens up a little bit more, we are going to chop up our beef. I'm going to get rid of the big fat chunks. This is a chuck roast. We're going to give this a stir. It's thickening up nicely. This is a 2-cup measuring cup, so I'm going to put probably about 4 cups of beef in there. Okay, we're going to add our beef. I have a bit more beef, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and add that to it also. Okay, it's getting really full now, and I still need to add sour cream. And we need to add 2 cups of sour cream. We might squeeze it in. Okay, and we need to try our noodles and see how they're doing. They're doing good. I'm going to turn those off and get this sour cream stirred in. Wow, we filled it to the brim. Hi friends, I drained our noodles. They're all done. And now we're going to spray our pans and get them ready for the freezer. I think we're going to get about 3, 1 dinner for tonight and then 2 extras for the freezer for when we don't have time to cook or we don't feel like cooking. Okay, and we should taste this and make sure everything tastes good. I'm going to add 1 more teaspoon of salt, maybe even 2. It needs a little bit more salt. Okay, we're going to give this a mix. That's good. That's delicious. Okay, now we're going to get this into our pans, our freezer pans. I like to use these glass pans for my freezer meals because if you let it thaw out, if you take it out a couple days before or even one day before, or if you decide you need it that night for dinner in the morning, if you just put it on your counter, then it'll be thawed out by nighttime. And then you don't have to buy a bunch of those aluminum pans. And it is nice to have the aluminum pans for if you're giving the meal away. But if you're doing it, keeping them for your house, for your family, then it's nice to have these reusable glass pans. These are Pyrex glass pans. So I just stick the whole thing in the freezer. Let's see, I'll clean this one up a little bit. There we go. We finished our beef stroganoff. I have 1 for dinner tonight, and I covered it with saran wrap. And the ones for the freezer I covered with a layer of saran wrap and aluminum foil. And I wrote the date and the name of the freezer meal, beef stroganoff, on here. So now we have 2 extra meals for whenever we need them. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.